Hello, and welcome to the Chief Chat for Friday, November 6th, 2020. What a crazy week. Of course, I think everybody's got election brain. It is, as expected, election week. And I got to tell you, like, you don't realize these things are affecting you as much as they are until you do something like I did yesterday, which was I missed two calls. I missed two calls, and I never miss calls. Take it as a personal affront to myself when I waste anyone's time or disrespect anybody. I think tardiness and follow through and those things are tardiness are super important. And it crushes me when I but I do so many calls. God knows how many calls I do a year, just with people, just with business, just with coaching. Hundreds, maybe thousands, probably thousands of calls a year. And sometimes you miss them, and it sucks. It happens to all of us. But yesterday I missed two with people who every call is important to me, but these are people I really respect. One of them I talk to all the time, so I was just a little late and it was okay. The other one I've been trying to connect with for weeks because we're both very busy. And here we find I confirmed the call that morning. You know, when you get the email and I confirmed it. And then he said, great, look forward to chatting later. And then I completely didn't show up for the call. Wow. I'm sitting here working, just oblivious to the fact that I'm supposed to be on a call. And I said, well, I blame election brain because everybody's, for better or worse, glued to this thing. And, pretty big decision going to have a lot of effect on our country, seeing which way this thing goes. So I don't get into politics. To me, that's personally irrelevant to what we do on these calls. So that ain't the point, but it is happening. And it is a very relevant, certainly, event in our lives here in the U.S. So I do have an ad I want to show you. So let's talk about what we're going to do on the show today. Like I said, I'm organized, and I got. Let me check this out. You guys are going to be impressed. They just say, "Look at Kev. Look at Kev getting it all together for the big chat." Ba-bum. Oh my goodness! Look at that. A title, Chief Chat, November 6th, 2020. Here's what we got on the show today. A brilliant do nothing ad. This is a primo example of zigging amidst a major zag. Landing the gig. I'm going to share with you my advice to a freelancer before a live call with a dream client. I think you'll find that useful. And we got, of course, some hot seat critiques. We've got a fun welcome email that we'll be critiquing in CD Baby style, just like Chris Orzakowski taught in recent training here in Copy Chief. And we're going to critique that email. Health supplement sales page, a meditation audio sales page, and an anxious teen video sales letter. So those are what's in the hot seat. So let's look at this ad. Did you guys happen to see this? If you were watching some of the news networks, you may have seen these ads in other places, maybe sporting events. But I love this. It is the company is Calm. It is an app that I am loosely aware of and may have downloaded on my phone, but I have not used, frankly. I, like a lot of people, have I don't know what to call it, a stilted relationship with meditation. Something that when I've done it, it's been amazing, but for some reason I continue to not do it. And so that'll also be relevant to our hot seat with Rev today. But I thought this ad was just brilliant. If you've seen this ad, this is the ad, the whole ad. So what you see on my screen, the still of it, that's the whole ad. It starts with the ring. That's the timer. It is a beautiful, calming image of rain through leaves of a tree. and you hear the beautiful sound of the rainfall, which immediately creates sort of a white noise meditative state. And the entire ad, this, 5-word ad, do nothing for 30 seconds. And I'll tell you, it was such a stunningly effective ad in the midst of what has to be the most chaotic event anybody can witness, which is a presidential election, getting up to the minute updates. And, it feels like from the very beginning of the thing, it feels like overtime of a, like, say, a football game or extra innings in the World Series, right? It just has that intensity of things are changing second by second, minute by minute, and you have no idea which way they're going to go. Everybody's rooting for a team, and it just, and in this case, of course, lingers on for days and days, and this, roller coaster of emotions. And so to have all this calamity, and then to have an ad come on the screen during major airtime, prime time, and the call to action is to simply stop and do nothing for 30 seconds. Talk about showing the product in action, right? I mean, how do you see that? And if you embrace that, boy, this is refreshing, and I'm going to do exactly what they're telling me. This is what I know. It's like, okay, sure, you got me. I will sit and watch this ad. And I already know what to expect in the ad, which is nothing more than this, feel good moment. And I'm going to take 30 seconds and just decompress and feel my blood pressure lower over these 30 seconds. And I mean, what more is there to say? If you want more of that, there's where you go. You go to Calm and you get this app, and then you can have more of this. So here's why it's brilliant. It's clean, right? No need for data about stress levels or scientific facts about the benefits of meditation or lists of benefits for remembering to breathe, which is frankly something we don't do well. We don't breathe well in the world today. We're not good breathers. We're breathing poorly. Or special limited offers, right, with urgent timelines. So much they could have said. Or no cleverly derivative slogans, just stop, got calm, the quicker, calmer downer. There's multiple ways to try to get a message across. And very often we, hire a creative agency to be creative, and they want to, flex their creative muscle. And so we end up with just more noise oftentimes. And I just loved how clean this ad was. It's on point. It demonstrates when you understand your prospect's pain so well that you can inject your product as a solution simply by showing it in action. Isn't that the greatest form of advertising? When the product itself, using it, getting people to use your product is the most effective way to outline all the benefits of it. It's obviously not possible with every product, but they did it brilliantly. And it's a confident ad. It reminds us that in copywriting, everything you choose not to include is as powerful as everything you do include, and maybe more so. Maybe more so. A running mantra that I hear from the highest levels, of our industry, and has been this way for years now, is that, because pixels are free, air quotes, people decide to use all they want. And so we don't edit like we could, like we should. We don't make every word earn its place. We don't make every bullet significant as we would in print, where we had limited, space. So love that ad. Let me stop and I want to see your comments and see what you think. Remember the free bump dealers used to hook. I love it. Meditate. What's a free free bump dealers? Yeah, exactly. First one's on me, kid. That's the old drug joke, right? First one's on me, kid. Exactly. Get them hooked. That's exactly what it's like. Gary Bensavenga would probably love how strong the proof and demonstration. Exactly. Right. Instantly intangible proof. Exactly. Yeah. I just thought it was stunning. Yeah, me too, Barbara. I just, it was so welcomed when it came on. I was like, ah. And they have another one that is a little bit more ad like. It's LeBron James sitting in a room with his eyes closed, and there's a voiceover from him talking about the mind, the greatest performers, the elites of the world, every athletes, everybody works on their body, but the true greats work on their mind. And that's a powerful ad as well, but not doesn't get the same effect. Just listening to Rain was so effective in that. Yeah, demonstration is just the most powerful form of advertising. All right, so let's talk about now. Who would like to hear my advice this week? By the way, I'm just curious if this person is here. I will not call you out because this was a private conversation. They are not here. I love to teach with my own inbox because, again, like all of us, sometimes we forget that the most effective piece of content that we could create is something we've already created. It's showing our work, right? And so there was an instance this week where, it doesn't always work this way, but when it does, it's awesome. One of the hidden benefits of being one of my coaching programs is obviously not a hidden benefit. One of the obvious benefits is that you're in my world and you're in my face and I'm interacting with you and I'm caring about you and you have a special place in my mental Rolodex. That's not an infinitely scalable benefit, but as of yet, it's still very effective, right? And so that's a benefit because I ain't bragging. Just I've been here a minute, right? I dyed this beard for a reason, and I'm pretty connected. And I've worked very hard over the last 6 years to establish myself and Copy Chief as the place to meet quality copywriters. And it's been effective. And so very often people reach out to me and say, Kev, can you recommend a copywriter? And when they do that, one of three things happen. Number one is I say, yeah, you can join Copy Chief and become a member, and you can meet all kinds of great copywriters by like putting up your ads for critiques and seeing who gives you great critiques. And that's something you should be glad to pay for in the real world, but you can source them through the community as a member of Copy Chief. So that's a great bargain, a great way to meet copywriters. If you're too busy for that, you could just place an ad. We will vet your ad and get to know a little bit about you and what you're after and help you write a really good ad to our community for $199, which is 1/10 the price of annual membership in Copy Chief. And they find that to be a fantastic deal because they know the quality of copywriters in Copy Chief. And so very often that's how they will meet copywriters and Copy Chief. And then the third way, frankly, is if it's networking. Like, somebody I know from business, from a mastermind, somebody who's probably done me some solids, built up some reciprocity with me over the years through various whatever. This is what we all do. Nobody grows alone, right? And so there's a certain select group of people who I'm happy to make personal recommendations to them for copywriter. And it just so happens that someone who joined our accelerator coaching program on, let's just say it was, like last week, spoke to this person on Tuesday. They immediately joined that day, which was great because I love commitment and I love implementers. Implementers clearly are the best kind of people to work with, right? People who don't need to go and walk through the forest to decide if something's good for them or not. They just trust their own instincts, and if they vetted the source, in this case, me, and talk to me about, get clarity on what they want from the coaching, and they feel like it's a good decision, they're in. And so that same evening, when the payment had barely cleared for her, I let go that it's a girl, it was a woman, for her to join, I was connecting her, offering to connect her to a very high level client. Because it just so happened that I was asked about a copywriter from this person, and I thought she would be perfect. And so it was just awesome that it worked out that way, right? And so within one day of her joining the accelerator coaching program, she is about to get like crazy ROI on that investment. And so she asked me, because this is, one of the bigger clients she will have talked to, and understandably, she has concerns about being ready. She knows she's ready for the work. She's just nervous about the call, which, in Escape Velocity, our coaching program for, beginner copywriters just starting to get their business going, and talking to more prospects and filling up their calendar with clients. This is what we coach, how to have those calls, how to take control of those calls, how to be confident on those calls, how to be honest on those calls. It's something we all struggle with, right? Think about it. As freelancers, you got to muddle through this part. If you, we are kind of creating, I think, the guidebook for how to do this specifically for freelance copywriters, but really all freelancers, creative freelancers. But as creatives, this is not our strongest skill set. We're not, great white shark hunters when it comes to selling. We are sensitive about the work we do, and we want to do it with people who inspire us. And therefore, we don't go into these calls with some great strategy, and we don't want to have to bullshit our way through them or try not to say the wrong thing. And if you've been in that situation where you're in a like job interview kind of a vibe, you feel like, you are under a microscope. That's the whole point of it. And you learn over time as a freelancer that the more you just get comfortable with showing up to these calls and having confidence to know that you're vetting the client as much as they're vetting you. And it isn't an audition, it's a conversation, right? And life gets a lot easier, but you have to go through the first few ones where you're just nervous as hell and trying to say the right stuff. And just it's unpleasant. So anyway, she asked me some great questions, and I thought if it's valuable to you guys, I will share my answers. Would that be helpful to you? Would you like to see those? Okay, cool. Here we go. So, prospect call with a dream client. So who leads the dance? Now, this is something that I'm not sharing screen, am I? Sorry about that. Let me get back to sharing screen. Who leads the dance? So this is something that I talk about a lot in both my programs, Escape Velocity, Real Free Life. Such a big one. Selling, like, look, we do have to learn some sales technique. Obviously, we're copywriters. We should know the art of the close and all the persuasion techniques. Doesn't mean we have to become weird and creepy. Just means that we need to understand how to lead a conversation. That's what we're doing in our copy. We're taking somebody, we're trying to meet them where they are and bring them to a place to come to the conclusion that what we have is what they need. That's the job. Much easier for a lot of us to do that, behind a keyboard than it is in front of a camera. And so we got to learn to get good at this part. So one thing I talk about a lot is how to take over the conversation. You have a little bit of chit chat, and then there's a certain phrase I give the freelancers and say this phrase, and then that will show clearly how this call is meant to go. You will be in charge. Your prospect will gladly fall in line and give you everything you need to close the deal. It's pretty magical, pretty simple. But in this case, we're dealing with a client who is very, very good at hiring. In fact, this person has taught a lot about these situations, how to hire, how to be hired, how to be, good on these calls. And so I highly suspect that this person will have their own protocol for how to lead the conversation. So my advice to her was, in this case, she said, should I use a framework to take over the call? And I said, in this case, I would let him lead, since I'm sure he has a process for this. I expect he'll set up expectations early, just go with the flow. If it feels like he's not, then you can say, well, I'm very happy to be talking with you today and I have questions prepared, but I'd like to just hear more about what kind of help you need first, right? So there you have taken it over. You've kind of said, okay, thanks for the chit chat. Let's get down to it. And why don't you go first and just explain to me what you're looking for? See what that does, rather than have you in a position to only want to please them and say the right stuff. You're saying, why don't you explain to me what you're looking for? Because that intonates that I may be the right person you're looking for, and I may not, and you may not be offering something that I want right now. And so we're exploring, right? It's not an audition. She said, what kind of, questions could I ask? She said, I think the way she put it was, to get him to perk up and say, oh, what's an impressive question? And I said, a couple of suggestions were, having worked with so many copywriters in the past, I'd love to know what you value most in the relationship and examples of reasons why some work better than others. I like the wording of that, because you're not assuming anything that it's ever gone incredibly well or it's ever been a nightmare. You're just saying, but they're obviously going to fill in the blank accordingly for that, right? I'd love to know what you value most, because obviously you're looking to share values with this person, and tell me what makes it work and what makes it not work. And what would be the best possible outcome for you and us working together, right? So say this works out. What would you like, what would be the biggest win we could create together? All right. Framing a lack of experience. She expressed concern that she didn't know if she had enough experience with the kind of work he might be looking for, but she has other relevant experience. So I said, just be honest, and yes, lean on relative experience. He's not looking for a strategist, but a solid copywriter who can write in their voice and is very reliable. So focus on those things. Know that they're not looking for you to be the greatest person they've ever hired yet. That'd be great, again, if it worked out that way. But what they want is someone reliable. These are the main concerns that clients have. Are you going to show up? Are you going to follow the pro code? Be where you said you'd be when you said you'd be there, having done what you promised to do? And can you write in their voice, right? Those are probably the most important things. And then a little piece of gold nugget advice was research and read everything this person's written or discussed about hiring practices online, right? Especially when you're dealing with a guru who teaches about things like, how to advance your career, productivity, things like that, which this person does. Google it. I did a, 5-second Google with this person's name and something like job interview or something, and a bunch of articles came up on this topic, interviews he's given on this topic. And so how valuable is it? I remember Ramit Sethi saying years ago, he was hiring copywriters. And he said this about all kinds of people he's hired. He said, I have written endlessly about how to apply for a job and be a standout and how to, land a gig. And it's stunning to me how many people don't even read what I've written on this before they apply for jobs with me. It just seems like the first thing you would do is make sure, okay, I know what he's laid out what he's looking for and what impresses him, and I should make sure to do those things if I really want this job, right? So a lot of times in this industry, because oftentimes we're dealing with people who put out a lot of content. Look for the stuff they've put out. And that's, by the way, great advice, even if you haven't been invited to have a call with this person, if you haven't been connected by someone like me or a peer or whoever, that it doesn't automatically mean you land the gig just because I put you on the phone with the person. You got to show up and, like she's doing, and make sure she's ready to impress. And I'm very confident it's going to go well as a result of that. So I love that she asked these questions. I hope my answers were as helpful to you as they may have been to her. So so there you go. All right, cool. Perfect. Look at this timing. We're at the bottom of the hour now. It's 12:30. Welcome to the Chief Chats. Time to go into some hot seats. Cue the music. Like a flame, kind of a burning noise. Hot seats. Who's on the hot seat today, Jim? All right, let's get a panel together. Oh, our man Zach Hansen's here. Here's what I want to do. Because we have Zach also in the hot seat today, and I love having Zach on the panel. Oh, Angie's here too. Hi, Angie. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to bring on Jimmy. Let's get our panel together. Jimmy Parent. Who's up for joining? Angie, would you like to be on the panel today, or are you just kind of chilling? No pressure. All right, let's get Angie. We haven't had Angie in a minute. And Zach, are you up for coming on the panel? And what I'd like to do, Zach, is start with your hot seat, and then you can just stay on and jump into the other hot seats. Does that work for you, Zach? Waiting on Zach to respond. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm living that dream. How you doing, brother?
You are, brother. You looking good. And yes. Jimmy, if you're seeing his video for the first time, everybody's like, "Oh my God, that looks so cool. How'd you do it?" Jimmy has shared all his tools and his resources, right? I think you put out some videos on this.
Yeah, I don't know if I put a link to the Google Photos kind of link in the forums, but if I didn't, I will do that right now.
Yeah, we'll add that in. Search for that. But I love what was interesting to me about it was to see that room looks so much bigger with the blur effect. It's not a big room like most. I'm in a small room, but it looks like so much bigger with that effect.
Yeah, and it's real.
And it's real. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It almost does kind of look like a green screen background, but you could pick up that guitar and play it right now. Let's talk about your guitar work, Jimmy. Are you been playing for years? Like, are you a confident player or are you a beginner?
I'm one of those guys where I've been playing since I was a kid, but never like really did the band thing. I just like to tinker. It's like, that's how I think, you know? So like when I'm stuck in something, I'll just pick up the guitar and learn a song and then put it down. But if you were to ask me something like, all right, let's play a C chord, I'd be like, I got to Google that.
C chord, you'd have to Google. Okay, cool. Yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I started playing, I don't know, 30 years ago when I bought an acoustic guitar that I still own, and my son plays incredibly well. And I literally never got past 4 chords, and I could play one song, Knocking on Heaven's Door, all day long, but literally that was it. I just never, and I took lessons, and it just, nothing ever stuck. And nothing ever stuck. And then in August, I decided, damn it, I want to just try to learn. And what's interesting, Jimmy, is it was because I say this very loosely, in a band. I get together with other folks like me who would, love to have a band, but aren't all the way qualified. Bless you, Angie. And anyway, so we never have a guitarist in the band. And I'm like, screw it. Forget the singing thing. We already have a really good singer in Stephanie. The singing thing is, I've mixed emotions about it. It's been mostly just frustrating. So why don't I just learn the damn guitar and I have a reason to play it? This will be great. And so I've been playing and getting better. And I'm actually forcing myself to learn theory, Jimmy, because
to that point, I got those stickers.
Oh, cool.
With the little notes.
Oh, I want that.
Dude, that is one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
you know, and I struggled with that because I'm like, oh, I've been playing for years. I'm supposed to know this. It's like, you know, this is embarrassing. I'm like, no one sees me play. I'm the only one.
Right.
You know, I'm sitting there like shredding Megadeth, you know, and I have no idea what notes I'm playing.
What I'm even doing. Exactly.
Yeah. And dude, absolutely best thing I've ever done.
I'm going to check
get
that
those
out.
Stickers. Yeah.
Yeah. Because what I'm doing is I'm forcing myself to just learn the damn, it's amazing how complicated the alphabet can be when you're trying to do 3 things at once. It's A through G, folks. But you got to remember, like, oh, you know, there's half notes and half steps and all this stuff. Angie, of course, a singer. Angie, when you like, this is what I learned when I was trying to sing. They say like singers don't know they kind of know what key they're in. Like, you know what key it's in, but you're not thinking about that. You just, once the song starts, you're singing.
Yeah, I think in terms of kind of a finite range of what I can hit, I'm a good mimic, and that has helped my singing ability. Like, I'm good at imitating sounds. I wouldn't call myself, what was his name, Michael Winslow from all the old Police Academy. I'm not in his level of mimicry, but I can imitate sounds, voices. I could probably, if I were a stand-up comedian, I could probably imitate people fairly well. And I learn languages very well. I can do accents. So I just know something in my brain knows how to make those sounds kind of in my face and my throat. And it's just a weird skill that I have. I've only had to change keys on a song once in my life, and it was a Janis Joplin song because I literally like screamed my voice out. I couldn't hit the notes that she was hitting. But yeah, I mean, most of the time that's what it is. Like, the band will look at me and be like, "Can you sing this?" And I'm like, "Play me a few bars." Yep, I can do that. Let's go.
Cool. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, because I only know. Yeah, I guess that's kind of similar. Like, in some things, and you hear two things I cannot sing. I can't sing Creedence because of whatever key Fogerty's in.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot get that key.
He's pretty high up there.
He's pretty high. Yeah. And the person I would love to be able to sing like and can't is someone you sing, which is Bad Company dude. Rogers, what's his name? I can't remember his first name now. But love that guy's voice. From Bad Company, and something about that range he's anyway, this is probably really boring. So here we go.
Not for the music geeks. We're having a good time.
Yeah, the Music Theory podcast.
Oh, it's called the Music Theory Podcast?
Yeah, with 3 copywriters starring Kevin Rogers.
Oh, exactly, right. 3 people who barely know what they're talking about, very passionate about music. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right,
Paul Rogers. That was going to bug me.
Thank you, Paul Rogers. That would have been busy too. Love Paul Rogers. That guy's voice is killer. Zach, are you there? Zach Hansen apparently like walked away from his computer. So we're not going to start with Zach, as I hoped, but let's get into it. So here is, okay, Zach, can you come on? Here's what I'd like to do, Zach. I would like to, okay. So I'm bringing Zach on. I need your full undivided attention during the Chief Chat, everybody. If you're having some kind of life going on, that is completely unacceptable.
No life for you.
Okay, let's see here. How's it going?
What's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Sorry to walk away there. We just got a new puppy and he was just going a little wild.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, that is a legit excuse. I once had to leave the middle of a podcast with Dean Jackson to get my dog to shut the hell up.
No way, really?
Yeah, I did. It's the only time I ever had to do it. And I was like, Dean, man, I'm sorry. I got to go handle the dog. Okay. And I come back. He didn't like pause it or anything. He just started. I don't even know what he was saying. I came back and he was just basically talking to himself.
Dropping wise words for his audience there.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway,
that's
all right, Zach. So we're going to start with you.
Okay.
And then I love having you on the panel. So then you can just stay through the other hot seat. Sound good?
Sound good.
Right. Here we go.
Let's do it.
So Zach, you this is a short VSL. Why don't you set us up and I'll get it ready.
Cool. So this is a short VSL for parents with teens or with anxious teens. Typically the market we're going after with this is parents that are currently spending money on therapy and medication for their kids. And basically what they're seeing is that their kid is like like very socially anxious. They're not doing well in school. They really are worried about certain events that happen in their lives, especially like stressful situations like tests, sporting events, kind of those things. And so what I wanted is kind of twofold. So first, I wanted your input on the like just kind of the core lead part of it, because I always find the lead is just the most important part of the whole VSL. And second, I also would love just some input on kind of this format I'm putting together, because I built another one like this that did really well. And what happened is I kind of took what Joel did with Jimmy Knows Power Offers so well. So I took what Joel did and kind of just modified this framework to really just shower testimonials in the front and kind of turn the testimonials into restating the offer. And I hope that makes sense and I'm not just rambling. But what I'm really looking for input is like, I'm trying to even get myself out of building these mini webinars, especially when I want to scale and start hiring a team and bring on another copywriter to do these. So I want to have like from you, expert team of panelists here. I have like some of the best people in the world to help me with this. Thank you. To really just like even have like an extra lead idea or two I could throw into this mix so that I could hand this off to a junior copywriter who might not know this format and just be like, here's what you can do. Like if I give you all the client resources, like you can just run with this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Okay, cool. I got up to get my handy copy of Great Lead.
Yes.
Because, you know, if you guys don't know this book, it's like, obviously there's more than just these leads, but these are sort of the most proven leads written by Mark Ford and John Ford, not related. Anyway, that'll be a quick guide for how to maybe, so let's look at what you got. Like you said, you started with testimonials. So we got set up. Okay. So again, this comes on, this is video. And in the beginning here, when we see like just this and this, so we'll have a voiceover. I don't know what goes with the iceberg here.
It's just, there's notes at the bottom, but it just basically says, I'm going to show you how this iceberg like helped like, and then kind of relate it to the testimonials. So what I'm going to say is like, this iceberg is kind of the mechanism in the way. And then it like helped this parent get her child, this result helped, this result happened, this result happened. And kind of the last question is like, if we could help your kid get the same result, like, would you be interested in taking us up on that kind of thing? Can't remember exactly.
Yeah, you got the gist of it.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. All right. And then so we've got some stills here of customers who've gotten results.
We're going to put those are videos. We're going to put them at the bottom of the funnel page so that they can actually go read the whole video.
Okay, good. So, but here you're recapping them, but they will be available in their full.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. This one, just one note that you'd want a cleaner image or more readable image of that, but
for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we got, so now we have parent, actual student or
student,
client.
Eighth grade student. Yeah. It's hard to categorize that.
Okay. And so there's some proof. Would you like to see your teen overcome their own self-doubt and anxiety in just 72 hours like these other teens have? So great hook there, 72 hours. It's really good. By the way, quick thing. I once did a project with Caleb O'Dowd and he found this therapist and her thing was one session. I never had more than one session. It was like, man, that was such a stunning hook, right? So I like that 72 hours for sure. Now we're credentializing Dan. Is this read by Dan?
This is all going to be read by Dan. Yeah. So okay. I don't know if you can see it. If you pull you can't see it on your screen, but if you pull the slider up, like you can see some of the script there as well on the bottom. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
It should be. There we go. Okay, cool. You don't have to read the whole thing, like just to get kind of the gist of it, because what I'm doing is I'm just taking, like, it was so funny. I was writing this and I was like, I have one that works really well. Why don't I just use the exact same format? Like my mom says I always try to make things hard, and I swear I do. It's so funny. So I'm just trying to make this like as simple as possible, and just like, okay, I'm using this exact same framework that worked for my other client extremely well. And now I just want to be able to have this framework of like running with the testimonials at the start and expand on it. Right. Sure. And the thing is, I haven't read Great Leads. I've gone through Copy Hour before, so I just maybe just cheaped out on it a little bit and was like, okay, I know the lead types, but we are looking for something like, I guess, more promise solution related, because I don't want this to go into like a big story. So I would love, what I'd love from you guys is just like ideas on ways that I could simply, like, that would make it easy for copywriters to be able to say like, okay, I can run with this.
A system,
I
right?
was-
I mean,
I was going to ask why you chose to lead in with the proof elements. Like what's happening before that to where they get to this mini webinar to where they have the context? Because that's what I'm worried about. That like we lead in with this iceberg theory, then we go into proof, and it's kind like for some people that's going to trigger the BS reaction of like, who is this? Why do I care what their story is? Like, what is the relevance to me? So that's kind of, that might have been answered in the iceberg story, and since I didn't see the scripts, I don't know.
Good. It's just the iceberg. I look at your iceberg as like a pattern interrupt kind of thing right now.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. To me, this personal opinion and from what I've seen worked, like there's more impact by telling them, but by leading in with the promise solution, like you said, like what is the actual problem that these people are struggling with? How are you going to solve it? Like give them a reason to tune into this versus introducing them to a bunch of people that they don't know.
Quick metaphor that someone taught me about this is like, imagine you go out and you're holding up a puzzle piece. Like, I got this puzzle piece. Do you want it? Let me tell you why you should have it. And it's like, I may or may not want it. But if you show a puzzle with a missing piece in the center, it's going to bug you. Like, I feel the urge to fill that piece. Like, here's this puzzle. I have the puzzle piece. Do you want it? Suddenly, it's like, now I have a reason for this. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah. So almost like, because the way I kind of learned it was start with explaining the offer at the front. However, I tested that with one client, didn't work so well. I tested this approach with another client, and it's working like gangbusters, which is just why I just led with this approach. But I love what you guys are saying, because I think what I want to do is like, just my personal thought is when I state the offer, it's boring unless they're really, really interested and the offer is like powerful enough that they will get hooked by that. But a lot of coaches, like, they just don't. Like this guy, I think it could make an exception because he like can help a kid that's been in therapy for 3 years getting no results get results in like 72 hours or less. Like it's one session.
That's like an awareness thing. Like what I'm hearing you describe is it's going to depend on where they are. That, you know, Kevin describes it as like green, yellow, red. How interested are they in solving this problem? I suspect, without seeing more details, that the audience where you're leading in with an offer where this is killing it, they have a red zone problem. Right. Yep. And the fact that you got straight to the offer was like, yep, that's what I need. Cool. I'm ready.
Cool.
This strikes me as a little bit more like green, yellow, somebody that's interested, but they want to know why this should work for them. And like, you need to do a little bit more educating and connecting, I think.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna politely disagree a little with that. I think if my kid is suffering with this, and there's an event coming up, or their grades are tanking, or whatever, there's a great saying for parents is that you're only as happy as your unhappiest kid.
And I love that.
Yeah. So if your kid, it's on your mind, believe me, if your kid, so I think it's more definitely like dark yellow, red for sure for me. So
and full disclosure, I'm not a parent, so
no, exactly, that's why I weigh it in so heavily, Ange, because I know, like, you can only know, right? And so anyway, so let's, for sake of time, because I think I like what you're after, Zach. You're basically looking to prove out a few different ways to lead in to this short VSL beyond the one that you've already had work really well, which is leading with proof, having a hook, and then sort of unpacking the hook and going to a call to action. And what is the CTA on this?
Just fill out an application right on the page.
Okay. So I'm not trying to close the deal with this.
No, and the rest hasn't even been finished yet. I just wanted your input on the start here.
All right. So I would say other hooks would be, more into the science of it.
Okay.
Obviously, it's like, you get to the iceberg here. And so you could sort of start with this, like, you could just straight up come out and teach them something. I don't know these leads well enough to know exactly like which one that category that would fall into.
Well,
But
what
this
do you
is kind of a
I was just gonna say, like, doesn't matter about the lead. Like, what would you think? Like, if you're
yeah,
if you're
exactly.
a parent in that shoes, right?
Well, if I was, I would. Well, obviously, I need you to twist the knife a little bit, but I don't need you to overdo it. Another great thing, I'll never forget John Carlton saying this to me. We're talking about empathy and when it's needed and when it isn't. And sometimes you need a ton of empathy for people to understand trust, and other times you just want the damn thing fixed. And our joke was that, you know, if you're wheeled into the hospital room and your hand is dangling from a single tendon because it's been, you know, almost chopped off, you don't need the doctor to go, oh geez, I almost cut my hand off once. Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, I know it hurts. You need him to go up, get him to room 5, and, you know, like,
Yeah. Let's
so
go.
this is kind of, you know, I don't need in this circumstance you to tell me all the ways you understand that this is hurting me. Just a couple, and then say, look, there's actually a really direct fundamental reason why this might be happening to your child, and it's called this. And picture an iceberg, and the tip of the iceberg is all we actually get to see about what's bothering your child. But everything underneath the iceberg is the accumulative effect of what's having it now peak below the surface. The scary thing is that if it wasn't so severe, it would still be under the surface, and your child may have been dealing with this for years now, and you didn't even know because it's been hidden beneath the surface. But now it's starting to peak out. That rightly has your attention. So let's talk about what's causing all of this. And let me tell you what I've learned about how teens have been able to solve it amazingly in just 72 hours. You know what I mean? That kind of thing would really get my attention.
So like restate the problem. Like, so talk about the problems they're having. Don't twist the knife too much, but just kind of talk about what's going on, and then go a little bit more into the teaching element, like right on the start, and kind of explain that right from the start.
Yeah, tell me, you know, help me see the problem in a new way. You know, lay some science on me. And I think that the thing I just riffed about the iceberg, a thing like that is effective, because now it's like you're taking the mechanism, the visual mechanism, and you're saying, the scary part is it's so much going on there that you might not even know. This might, you know, and then because now I have this sixth sense moment where I'm starting to go, oh shit, and seeing all the signs I didn't know to pay attention to before, right? And maybe that'd be a good place to lay some of those out. If your child's done this, if your child's done that, if you've noticed a pattern of this or that. And I'm going, oh my God, this is, now I'm having guilt as a parent. Like, how did I not see that I didn't know this was more serious. Now I'm totally in the red zone because, you know, and again, none of this is lying or bullshit manipulation. It's, I'm sure, factual, you know, so that would, to me, be the most effective thing. It's twist the knife just enough to let me know. You got to be careful not to use that as a manipulation to where I feel like, okay, you know, there's that moment when we're twisting the knife where you're just like, I get it. Okay. And it just immediately goes from empathy to manipulation. Like, be really careful with that. And then just tell me, like, let me help you understand what's going on here. And now that you get it, it's even a little scarier than you might have thought, but hold on, there's good news. I know how to solve this in 72 hours, and let's talk about it.
Cool. I love that, because you could use that as a really good hook just to the lead. I really like that, because the rest of it would flow perfectly, because you could pretty much restate the whole offer on one slide and then go into the origin story, and then even do a little bit further explaining if you wanted to as well.
And what can you give? Because Kevin I want to tack on something that Kevin said, which is like, what can you teach them this? Like, not just the model, but is there a quick win that's like easy for you to give as the expert that's actually going to get them a result that makes applying at the end of this a no-brainer? Because you've given them a specific, like a question to ask, an exercise to go through with the teen, like something that is low effort for you to give, almost like a lead magnet. They go and get results and then go, oh shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. Where was that link I need to apply?
Yeah. I think I was thinking about adding something like testing that, because I don't want to, the problem with doing that in the videos, I like to keep the videos under like 10 minutes, because I just want someone, ideally, like I want someone to show up and watch the whole video unless it's like a really, 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 really well done webinar, I just find like a lot of people will drop off because people on Facebook, right? This is where all the traffic comes from. Is like, okay, I don't think I was prepared to dedicate an hour of my time to watching this whole thing, but sure, I can take 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And again, unless it's like they're in that serious like extreme red problem. But what I was thinking actually to talk about that, Angie, is like attaching, like making it part of the hook of the opt-in page to get like the framework to be able to like stop a panic attack in 60 seconds, and then sending that via email as well, so that it's kind of like that extra piece in there as well, just to show that they can get immediate results.
That's a big hooky idea right there.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. All right, for time, I'll stop it there, Zach. But that's one idea. Go get the book, Great Leads, because it'll it's not about following formulas. It'll spark other ways. And again, we're always reinventing these things. But
amen. Awesome, guys. That was great. And thanks everyone in the comments too. Like I'll have to go through and read those.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff in there.
Copy paste. Sure. Appreciate it.
And those will be in the replay inside of Copy Chief. All right, cool. So you'll stay on and help us out with some others. Let's dive in.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, let's look at revs, because this is cool, kind of relevant. It just worked out that it's similar to the Calm product that I just happened to want to showcase. So rev, I think this is it's in Copy Chief, so it's already set up pretty well. Everybody, this is in, by the way, look at that beautiful new form. This is in the copywriting feedback. And so target market is entrepreneurs and high performers who want to meditate but struggle to do it. Typically hard charging, stressed out entrepreneurs, professionals who have the attention span of a goldfish. Warm traffic via subscription, semi-warm, organic. All right. Resilience level 1 audio program and training manual. Okay, so just to jump right to it, Rev, what you asked us for help was like when we would stop reading, and you've already gotten some good advice in this. I actually added my idea to this, so I'll just kind of recap it real quick, and then we'll get at other people's thoughts. So let's just read the headline real quick, and this is the way you're laying out the deck, essentially working with the structure we have. Reduce stress and build mental and emotional resistance with the world's easiest meditation program, even if your life is a nerve-wracking hot mess. And then you give a sort of TLDR recap. Quickly and easily reach deep, near Tibetan monk-like states of meditation in 6 minutes or less, even if you can't meditate. Calmly cope with adversity and bounce back from setbacks and difficulties. Respond appropriately and effectively to life stresses and challenges. Alternative to old-fashioned meditation techniques that don't work well for today's fast-paced, stressed-out world. Best for entrepreneurs, high performers, and people who struggle with traditional meditation and say, I can't meditate. So I think all that's good. And then, resilience level 1, here's basically what it is. So, obviously, I don't know if you've tested this before, but I think it's cool to, like, again, we know that these are super busy, stressed out people who don't have time to sit there and really like read a full sales letter or learn about something. They're going to be impatient with that. So I kind of like this recap idea. And so I just focused on maybe the hook, Rev. And by the way, I loved what Alex said. I thought her note was really relevant, that there were, and I think you actually added meditation into the headline based on what Alex said, because I also had a disconnect with the idea of resilience and meditation. I needed a little bit more to connect those two. And so you kind of did that. I just had a quick riff on another way to maybe approach this, because to me, I want the magic bullet when it comes to meditation. Like I said in the beginning, like I know I should meditate. I can imagine it would help a lot. Why don't I? Right? It's for all the reasons all these people have this friction around meditation. So my quick idea was, what if you could dramatically reduce stress and build rock solid emotional resilience, no matter how stressed out you're feeling, just by popping in your earbuds for 6 minutes? Again, it's kind of that magic bullet idea of, oh, well, okay, give me this dream come true proposition. And then, because I thought the most interesting thing, Rev, was the science that you get into later in the thing, where it's like, it's about these beats, and this neuroscience breakthrough is what I would want to call it, is found out that just like you tap your foot to a song without realizing it, you can sort of almost manipulate your brain, or help your brain take you out of a stressful moment, get super focused in 6 minutes by it's like, I don't even care if I hear the music or not. So it's sort of like different than the Calm thing, where it's like, they showed me what it was going to do for me. I said, I want to sit and listen to Rain. Like, I would maybe find time to do that. This is a little bit more like a Yellow problem, where it's like, damn it, I know, like I catch myself, like I'm overwhelmed. I need to break out of this. All right, I'm just going to pop in these beats, and I don't even care if I can hear it or not. I just trust that it's rewiring my brain in 6 minutes to suddenly have this calm and clarity that I would otherwise not know how to get, or would need to learn to meditate like a Tibetan monk in order to do previously.
You know what always frustrated me about meditation was like this visual of someone sitting on a cushion, and just like completely zen. My first experience with kind of meditation light was when I was waiting tables, and the trainer made me sit silently for 1 minute just to show me what it felt like when someone hadn't been greeted. And that was the longest minute of my entire freaking, like, my frustration was going through the roof the longer this minute went. And I was like, okay, so that's why we greet customers within of them sitting down, be like, I see you, I'll be with you in just a second. That's enough to diffuse it. So that's probably like ingrained in my psyche, where people are like, meditate 10 minutes a day. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, that's so frustrating. Like, I can't even imagine,
the longest
like,
time ever.
Yeah.
So like, at a high level, I'm going through some difficult personal stuff. And I went to a conference last weekend called Story Camp. And one of the things that they talked about was a morning routine for helping you maintain that calm. And it's the same kind of thing here: emotional resilience, being able to manage your stress, being able to respond appropriately to sessions. They recommended Calm, which I've had on my phone for months and I've literally not used. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to find this 10-minute meditation. It was on dealing with intense emotions. That was the fastest 10 minutes of my life. Talk about how flexible time seems to go depending on the context. Like, I sat there, I listened to this lady, she told me to breathe. I feel like I blinked, and that like 2 minutes later, it was doing the little ding telling me the meditation was over. And to me, that was like a personal breakthrough, that it wasn't as hard as it seems. Like, I can just pop in my headphones, like Kevin said, listen to someone talk me through this, have all of the Zen moments, open my eyes, and I'm ready to go about my day. And it has been helping me. I've been doing it for a week, and it's 10 minutes. I'm actually making my ass sit still for 10 minutes and just breathe. What? This is just like, so I think that time factor and everything that Kevin said in the reworked thing, I just want to give you a little bit of context, but you're speaking to someone like me, and that was important, what Kev said.
Cool.
Yeah. I just wanted to say really quick on this too. Just the thing for me is I always tried to use apps for meditation, and I always felt like I was always distracted. Like, my mind would always wander, unlike Angie's, like where I guess maybe Calm's really good. I'll have to check it out. But I would be using like Waking Up app, for example. I've heard really good things about it. And it wasn't until like I tried a meditation that was like specifically for high performance and entrepreneurs that I really started noticing the difference, because it's like it walks you through this process of like gratitude and all these different things, right? And so just reading the initial copy, it sounds like if you're targeting like entrepreneurs and high performers, like I would state that in your headline, because I think a lot of meditation apps and things that people might have tried in the past are, they might not be exactly what they're looking for. Whereas I like Kevin's idea a lot. Like, I got to say, that headline rocked. Because just being able to put something in for 6 minutes and be like instantly there is yes, like hell yes. And I think you really nailed the science of it. I agree with what Kevin said there too. But I would say if you're going to go after high performers and you want high performers, I'm not sure how this relates to the rest of your funnel. So if you're wanting to work with people on a high performance level, this is kind of like an entry kind of product to get them in the door, and then you want to do kind of more one-on-one or group intensive coaching with them, and you want those high performance people, I would make sure that the copy and the focus of the meditation is really specific to high performers.
Yeah.
That would just be my 2 cents on that.
That's how they hooked me into this new morning routine. I got 5 minutes of journaling. I got 10 minutes of meditation on that app. Boom, my day started. And I'm feeling a lot better in just 5 days of doing that. So yeah. And I think I would qualify as a higher performer. So that would appeal to me.
For sure. There you go. That's awesome.
Awesome. Rev, is that helpful? Anything we missed, or if we're hopefully not stating the obvious, I don't know how long you've been with this product, or I know you're an advanced guy. So is that helpful to you? Anything else you want to get thoughts on? Yep. Okay, cool. All right. I'm conscious that we are after overtime here just a little bit. You guys got time for one more quick one?
Sure.
Good. All right.
I'm good.
So this is an interesting one because I'm going to go to Daisy. Is Daisy here? Daisy Fable. This is an email. It's a welcome email. And this is a tricky one to me because it's, if you guys remember the training with Chris Rosakowski, a fun kind of over the top welcome email. And we had a whole workshop on these, and we wrote about, and they're super fun to write and cool. I have frankly mixed emotions about, or mixed ideas about these. And it's one of these things where it's kind of like being a comic. It's like, don't ask me to tell you if something's funny or not, because, it's like, there's much better, I know too much. And so I feel like we all have the curse of knowledge with these. Like, we think we've seen them 100 times, but probably so many people who see this the first time think it's genius, and oh my God, it really gets their attention. And so I think they're worth trying. But Daisy is asking, Daisy is not here, right? Okay. If it's funny, if it's kind of hitting the point, her client, I can tell you, is resistant. So she's a supplement company focused on helping endurance athletes and aging athletes overcome health issues and increase performance through the use of premium natural supplements. This is the first email they receive after opting in. She's a fangirl of Chris, wants to do that format. She said, my client tends to think emails like this sound too promotional when I've tried them in the past. Hasn't seen this series yet. So my question is his email a little funny and hitting the right notes, making a strong brand impression while still being serious enough, or is it falling flat and sounding too contrived? So that's a great question, Daisy, and exactly what I think is the concern with these. They can feel very contrived. So first thing is, for me, the subject line, I wouldn't mess with the subject line, especially with this word. It looks like a name of a town or something. I think you're saying, welcome to Swiss RX. And it's too fast for me to immediately dial into a different kind of voice. So I would look for another way to either maybe have fun with the headline or just get straight to it. I'd almost like have it, I think with this, it's like, it's an important thing. It's, welcome to Swiss RX is fine. I would just spell it correctly. And now just a quick little, I'm going to go into the nuance of comedy a little bit, and I try not to get boring with the science of it here or whatever, but there's certain like things that this comedy is like, there's an intricacy to what makes it work or not. And so you just did something pretty great. You've taken a key step to improving your athletic performance of the world's first spare no expense sports supplement. Nothing wrong with that. We're not into the comedy yet, but I just wanted to point out that the spare no expense thing, I looked on the sales page and I didn't see that phrase anywhere. And so I don't know if you kind of just riffed that out for this email, but I don't like it, because to me, it doesn't fit with the science. It's not a phrase that gets me to go, oh, I'm with the right company. And spare no expense, I think traditionally in supplements, people want to feel like they're getting the best their money can buy, but not having to spend whatever it takes to get this edge. You know what I mean? I think they're willing to spend a lot if they believe it's worth it for how damn good the supplement is. But spare no expense sounds to me like a luxury most people don't have. So then we get into the comedy. You may not realize it, but we're super stoked to have you here. So this is a disconnect for me, because we should assume that they know, like, we're happy that they're a customer, right? And so this little bit of misdirection of you might not realize it, but we're super stoked, doesn't land for me. So I would adjust that line. And then we get into, in fact, as soon as word got out that you join our list, the entire Swiss team let out a mighty victory roar that shook my nerves and rattled my brain. And then you kind of are going into a, great balls of fire thing. Again, it's cute. It follows the protocol of so many of these. Here's what I think, though. This is the nuance. If you're going to do it, you got to come straight out with this scene. And if you look back to when we did the workshop, the best ones got right into the jokes. Some fun, like I would start maybe with this quote: "Goodness gracious, great balls of fire," is what I shouted when I saw that John had joined our list, right? And then all these other crazy things happen. Because I think that's the pattern interrupt that gets people to go like, "Oh my God, what is this?" Like, "Oh, that's cute. Oh, wow." Right. And then you can sort of get into this. So it feels to me like you're trying to appease your client, and also like, this is a serious thing, and we want to make sure we got you covered, the science of high performance, but let's have a little fun. To me, it's like you got to do one or the other. It's really hard to straddle that line. And so this is why, for me, I would first like choose which it's going to be, and I just write 2 versions of it for your client, but let the comedy one be pure comedy and be over the top, and see how they feel about it.
I got a comment on this, if I can skip you for a second, Angie. So, so with stuff like this, you got to think of the standpoint of, what's the position of this buyer? When someone buys something, especially when it's like something online, there's always that sense of like, did I do the right thing? Like, I just bought it. I feel good having bought it, but some of those thoughts might start setting in at some point. We call that buyer's remorse, and so something really interesting. I picked this up from Five Guys Burgers, of all places. So if you guys have never been to Five Guys, when you go there, you order burger, fries, and whether you're eating in or taking it out, they give it to you in a bag. Okay. And inside that bag, no matter what size fries you get, there's like this whole extra pile of bonus fries at the bottom. Everyone loves the bonus fries, and they give you a whole bunch of them. And so you bought what you bought, and you get what you're expecting plus more, so what I like to do is, okay, so on the sales page, you're supposed to have the offer and all the bonuses and all that stuff. I like to actually hide one of the extra bonuses, one of the better bonuses, not the throwaway crap that most people do in bonuses, like a legitimately good bonus. And then after they buy, say, hey, oh, you also get this. And it's like, oh, wow, that's awesome. That's something that I could actually use. So one of the clients I'm working with is in the e-com space, and they sell like high ticket e-commerce products like $2,000 massage chairs through Facebook ads. And they sell them very well. And foot massagers. And so for one of the foot massagers, it's like a $300 foot massager. They get the order confirmation. They say, hey, by the way, we're also sending you for free this electric neck massager. So while you're sitting down, it'll massage your neck and your shoulders while you're getting the foot massage, and it's on us. And It dropped the return and refund rate down to 0.3%, although when it was up at like 13%. So it dropped it to almost nothing. And so it paid for itself far above and beyond. So I don't know if there's something in here that you might be able to throw in there, and then from a copy standpoint, Kevin's right. There's just a dozen different ideas going on. Just tell them what they, tell them, pick an idea, test the different ideas and run with it.
Yeah. Great stuff, Jimmy. That's a great example. Yeah. Can you surprise them? Can you toss something in the bag that they weren't expecting? By the way,
surprises. Bad surprises are called problems.
Yeah. Good surprise. By the way, I wanted to let you know when I was in the subject line, something about there's a surprise in your bag about your package. That'd be the bad joke I would do, but how cool would it be to say, by the way, we threw something in your package. You can even have fun with that. I said, you know, we were so happy that John, you know, we have our eye on you and you became our customer. So I was like, make sure you throw that, you know, what the hell ever, you know, if there was a little surprise. That's such a great point, Jimmy. And again, this isn't Daisy's job, but I talk a lot about all these Hormone Brothers products who have this fantastic front end. They get me so excited about their vibe. And then I order the damn Lumi deodorant and it comes literally wrapped in manila envelope and not a friggin' word of fun or anything. It's like, here's what you wanted. Here it is. Like they just tossed it to me from across the country, you know? And I'm like, what happened to the fun? I wanted to be like, you know, Dollar Shave Club. It never ends. Like the fun, the jokes, they give you a little magazine to read by the toilet, and they're always there reminding you why you love their product, even because their razors suck. They're not selling you on quality. They're keeping you on atmosphere. So I would say that's another thing to consider, Daisy. Like, is this going to be a consistent, congruent theme? If your client's resistant to it, I wouldn't fight to get this one email delivered if the vibe is going to just change and fall flat from there. So hopefully that's helpful. Zach, anything to add before we? And Angie has some comments in the thread there I want to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, it also depends a little bit on who the actual buyers are of these types of supplements. I mean, like some of the language was great for someone my age, but if you're going after like 35, 40 plus year olds that are a little bit more serious and very into like, I don't know, high performance conditioning, for example, they might just not take that as lightly. So I think it really also depends a little bit on the language you use of who exactly is buying right now. And I really agree with kind of the congruency. I think that's one thing a lot of people forget is that if you're going to write this fun email and then they get it in a boring package, you know, it's just not the same, right? So I would work with what your client is willing to do. And, you know, if you can champion something like this, that's awesome. Especially Jimmy's idea. Like, I think that's beautiful to throw in an extra bonus, right? Especially if you do have a very bold refund policy. I think if you could, you know, talk to your client about, you know, what percentage of refunds are you getting right now? And maybe we can do something as part of this welcome campaign or this welcome email to reduce that. Because I think the congruency is so key. The language, I agree. Like if you're going to go for that punchy story, start from the top. It felt a little bit disjointed. And I felt like the one line where it was like, where we were up in like an uproar and excited, that was really good. But then it just kind of like, it kept going. And I was just like, ugh, like this is too much. So I feel like you either need to like really go punchy with it right at the start, or just, you know, kind of find a new idea.
That's a great point. Like, because I was actually coaching a writer through developing an order confirmation email just like this. And this writer like dug into the brand history and figured out that this guy was native Hawaiian and was really married to this idea of it needs to be a luau and this guy needs to be hulaing. And I'm like, this brand voice is very much like, stop your bullshit. It's time to get things done. No hulaing. It's totally off brand. I know that you love it. I know that it's funny. And I know that it follows the formula and the unexpected humor, but you've got to add in those filters that get this to a brand voice. So to me, like, I don't know much about the company, but if they're a high performance, I would see a funnier story being in, you know, I threw an idea out into the comments, but like he slammed a shot of wheatgrass and took off sprinting down the hall with your order. Seems more on brands than like confetti raining from the ceiling.
Right. And
exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right. If any of you have to go, you're free to go. But Barry's here and he's the final one, and I don't want to not do him. So I'm going to do Barry. I don't know if you guys want to stay. We'll all do Barry.
Good.
Cool. All right.
He gave us a lot of help too. So
yeah, awesome, Barry. So this is, let me share screen. Okay, so this is a 7-day challenge. It's a Facebook ad to warm and cold. And what is the call to action? Do 7-day hormone reset challenge. So I'm just going to read it. It's pretty short. As we age, our hormones change, leading to all sorts of unwanted side effects: stress, unshakable sadness, low energy, poor sleep, bloating, and many more. Male doctors will recommend, oh, by the way, this is for women. Male doctors will recommend some sort of expensive and possibly dangerous replacement therapy to get you back in balance so you can be the best version of you. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. My name is Dr. Sarah Gottfried. I am the author of the New York Times bestselling book, The Hormone Cure. During my career, I found many ways that women of all ages can rebalance their hormones by simply using their forks. I'm talking about quick and easy changes while eating the foods you love. Here's the thing. You don't need a complicated plan. You don't have to do some fad diet. And you certainly don't need to do replacement therapy to radically change your hormone situation. In fact, I promise you can hit the reset button on your hormones within just 7 days. Imagine this. Your doctor sends you an email each day for the next 7 days, walking you through this one itsy bitsy tweak you make to what you eat for the day. You get 24/7 access to doctors' trained staff so you can get questions answered and stay accountable for the week. And by the end of 7 days, you're noticing more energy, focus, and feelings of well-being. If that sounds like something you'd want, I'd like to make this reality. All you have to do is join my program. Over the course of the week, I'll guide you through the hormone detox of sorts. Is a sellout there. You'll get daily emails and videos showing you a few simple changes you'll make to what you eat for the day. Okay. So I will say this about it. I think it sounds like it's a proven product and offer, but it just so turns out that just yesterday, a friend of ours was telling my wife that, and she's a 49-year-old woman, that her doctor is about to put her on hormone replacement therapy and told her, you're going to feel energized. You're going to have a renewed sex drive. You're going to have all these benefits, but it could cause hair loss. It could cause you to grow other hair, facial hair and things. And what was the other one? There could be weight gain. And we joked, it's like, the old joke is like, you're going to, want sex more than ever, but you're going to have any, it's going to be a little hard to, you're not going to be feeling very amorous, so it's kind of the old classic trade-off so there's a really good, I think a stronger hook here because I don't know, Barry, if for the warm traffic in particular, I would want to assume that there is some solution awareness and the solution is scary. And for me, I think I would go much more harder into the concept. If you're considering hormone replacement therapy, stop and read this first. What if in 7 days I could give you noticeable change in your energy, blah, 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 all the benefits, the opposite of these things. And without the dangerous side effects that you probably have already been warned of with shooting, testosterone and whatever into your body. I would to me, it's like, this is to me, Facebook is always sort of like gun to the head. It doesn't have to be the most urgent thing, but if you only had 10 seconds to make your case, what do you do to just sell the damn thing? And to me, I would want to talk to that solution aware, not just problem aware, but solution aware audience and tell them you can do it with your fork. You don't have to do it with the needle.
Hey, I got a weird serendipitous thing. So I'm working on an offer that's related to hormones and, alternatives to HRT, hormone replacement therapy and all this stuff. And so I like to test sales pages as long form emails, basically putting the sales page in the email and driving them straight to an order form. And the subject line that I wrote that got normally they get a 14% open to this list. We wrote the subject line that ended up getting a 54% open. And what I wrote was considering hormone replacement or considering HRT. So these are people who are aware of HRT. Considering HRT, take a look at your poop first.
That's great.
And then the narrative goes into how, if your poop looks like this, well, hormones have a lot to do with that. And if your poop does look like this, then you might want to consider this alternative type of solution. But yeah, something that just, grabs them, brings them in and poses a new alternative that they've never seen or heard of before.
Something they can literally do and frankly already are doing that they're just not even thinking about, right? It's like, have you noticed this pattern in your poop?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
saw-
and it was reindeer poop was the punchline.
Nice.
I saw the beginnings of a hook in that ad because like
Yeah.
I got tweaked as soon as they said that you can do all this with your fork.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, that's an interesting idea to me. One small nitpicky thing, and this seems to be a recurring theme this week in all my work, which is there's a difference between calling someone out and knowing who you're talking to.
Hmm.
So like
Ah.
I was working with someone on ads this week and they knew they were targeting senior citizens and they were basically like, senior citizens love this watch. And I was like, okay, hey, old person, I've got something for your oldness over here. Or like, hey, fat person, I've got something for your weight loss over here. You don't have to get that granular to be speaking to someone directly. So it was the two words that tweaked me was male doctors and
Yeah.
like, I'm here for women. You don't
Yeah.
have to do that. If you're like, you could cut that out and this whole message would still land with women. But
Totally
having
agree.
that language in there is enough for me to be like, okay, that's weird. Why are you male doctors will do that?
Oh,
Male
so
doc-
you say you needed
you-
more context around that, more direct context? Like if you're a woman, then
I'm
no,
saying that
you
I don't need that context
don't need
because
that.
like Jimmy said, if I'm considering HRT, then this message is for me without you having to be like, if you're a woman in your 40s considering HRT, like we don't have to go that
you don't
granular.
have to sell them on HRT in
Yeah.
the first place.
Yeah.
I would-
Okay.
I
Interesting.
would just add, like, go agree, like, start with a really strong hook about the HRT. And even like this person's a New York Times bestselling author. I'm willing to bet that she has like one or two golden lines from, because I always find in Facebook ads, like just copying what Mike Renard does, not copying, bought all his stuff. He's great. He always like the hooks that work really well for me are like the start of a quotation or something like that. So if you can even find a really good, and I'm willing to bet she has tons of Amazon reviews, tons of really good testimonials. Like you probably have so much ammo to work with that you're not using here. You could probably just tell one really good story about some woman that was either on MRT or considering it, and then did this challenge and had this result. Like you could pretty much like with making your life very easy, basically just tell their story in the Facebook ad, and you don't have to do much copyright. just on that side, I really like the hook of really just like going right for the MRT though, because I feel like you're kind of trying to massage it out a little bit at the start, and it was just a little boring for me.
Mm-hmm. That's show don't tell in a nutshell, right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was about to say the same thing. Totally right.
714 reviews.
Yeah, you got a story in there for sure.
Cool. Barry, is that helpful? That's a great advice. Yeah, sometimes when you have so much to work with, it's hard to know what to choose, right? And so I agree. That was really insightful from Angie. Again, this is why I love having a diverse panel. I wouldn't have thought of that, honestly. I thought that was actually, to me, one of those, oh, that's important, So that was really insightful. Especially if you're a guy writing for a female market, make sure you're talking to women copywriters. Use Copy Chief in that regard, big time, because we just don't know. And it's time like with Angie, not being a parent, talk to parents, talk to people who have this unique set of view of the world. Okay, great stuff. Thanks everybody. Great panel. Jimmy, Angie, Zach, really appreciate you. Thanks to everybody who was in the hot seat today. Appreciate you. By the way, November 18th, training with David Deutsch is going to be super cool. All about, I'm calling it the promisability factor, how to make the big promise believable. We don't make our promises believable enough in our copy. And David teaches us really well. So November 18th at noon, David Deutsch is our special guest trainer. It's going to be a really great one. So I'll see you guys inside. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.